back, Troglodytes, to another episode of Trogly's Guitars. Hey, I got one of these SG Customs in on viewer request. They were really wanting me to do a custom or a deluxe, something other than a standard, because typically all I do are SG standards because I'm a little more comfortable on the market of them. So I decided to branch out and get one of these SG Customs in. And I've got to say, I'm glad I did. I now know what an SG Custom feels like. Honestly, it feels just like a standard, except for you got a third humbucker and it's fancier with gold hardware. Unfortunately, this one's a bust. It's gonna be sent back, but I figured might as well at least do a review of it. This guitar was sold as all original, which it is, and no breaks, cracks, or repairs, which is not true. So the SG Custom gets a fancy custom emblem here, similar to a Les Paul Custom. They also get a Truss Rod cover that says SG on it instead of Les Paul Custom. They have the same types of tuners as the regular Les Paul Customs, as you can see here. So it really does, just feel like a custom of the era. Now, something that these SGs have that the Les Pauls don't is they have a shallower nut width. I forgot to measure it. I'll probably put it down here somewhere. But it is a shallower nut width, so it can, for some people, feel cramped up here for chords. But if you have smaller hands, a lot of people really do enjoy that. But as you go up the neck, as you can see as my fingers go, from small, it gets wider. I really like these necks when they're up here. 65 Melody makers have a similar type of neck profile. I would say this is more of a 60s style neck compared to a 65 Melody maker, which has a pretty huge neck on it. Ebony fretboard with custom block mother of pearl inlays. The frets on this one do show considerable wear. There's quite a bit of flattening and divots on it, but surprisingly it's playable. Like, I thought there would be a lot of buzzing, and there really isn't. Something to note is the fret size though. These are kind of thinner than Les Paul Custom frets, and I mean for standard SGs of the era as well. Usually the Norland era is known as low and wide. These are more akin to like the fretless wonders, the tiny little things that are very low. But it is a very nice playing guitar. This SG Custom, the body's fairly similar to a regular standard. It's not necessarily heavier than a standard. It's just got this third pickup here. And the SGs of this era get what are known as the humbuckers. They got the tar on the back. Other models that had this are like the Les Paul Artisan. 2550s had double lead ones for coil tapping. But you can see this example is fairly worn on the gold hardware. These two are pretty well shot, and original gold on the neck is actually going pretty okay. Now, I believe this one's been rewired at some point in time, so this pickup functions differently than normal. Usually, 3 pickup customs, I'm in love. I love that twangy, Fender-ish sound out of these, but this one's kind of a bust for me. It's kind of a weird, out-of-phase sound. I don't know what they did. Maybe the pickup's dying. I should probably ohm it out, but overall, I'm not a huge fan of the middle pickup on this particular custom. The neck and bridge sound awesome in full. When these tarback humbuckers go bad, which they are starting to do so more and more, you can't fix them because of the epoxy coating on the back of them. So once they're toast, they are toast. Now you will notice that this still has a harmonica bridge on it, and that's pretty late for a 1977. They were used on very select models, and the SG Custom is one of them. What's nice about these harmonica bridges is look how much room you have to adjust for intonation. And that's why players like these, but they hate them because, well, they're almost as thick as a humbucker, so it's like you got a fourth one here. Standard tailpiece here, but overall, this is a player's guitar, and in the lighting here, it looks pretty good. Now, I can't wait to get to the black light here. Take a good look at this guitar, because there's a huge surprise under black light on this guitar. Sweet original vintage speed knobs. They really haven't aged too much. They just have a very nice paleness to it. Once again, you can kind of tell that an original knob from the 70s is an actual real knob from the 70s, is the font is a little bit more in bold print than modern day. pick guard a little bit different, obviously, because there's no insert in here because there's a third pickup. But overall, you got some nicks and dings and just average wear and tear. Looks like a three-piece top. Back of the headstock is where some anomalies start showing up. Serial number 73467084. So this is a Kalamazoo-made SG Custom. Very, very late 77, almost an early 78. But you're going to notice something here. There's no Made in USA stamp. That does not mean it's a fake. That does not mean there's been work done. There are examples out there that just for whatever reason didn't get stamped at the factory. I think I've had like 6 or 7 of them like this. Condition wise, you can see you've got a pretty good chunk of the headstock here kind of indentated in, and some light nicks and dings around the edges as well here. But there is no headstock repair on this guitar. So if there's no headstock repair, we're probably looking at a heel repair, right? Nope, no heel repair either, but there is a repair on this guitar. So once again, 60s profile neck. It's kind of small and rounded. You can see here a beautiful neck. But as you're gonna see, there's actually a really long crack going right up there. Now that I've told you, can you see this area that's a little bit more amber in color? That's a touch-up. I missed that until I saw it under black light, and I was like, oh. And if you ever see a long crack like that, that usually means somebody's over-tightened the truss rod. Now, I checked the truss rod, it does function fine, so it appears that somebody's glued this or refinished it. Luckily, the heel joint is good. There's no cracks or repairs there. And the back is fairly chewed up with buckle rash, as you can see. But all of the pots in here are original, but once again, I think the wiring has been altered slightly. Around the edges of the guitar, you do have quite a few nicks and dings and scratches, but original strap buttons yet, which is increasingly hard to find, believe it or not. So overall, SG Custom, are they worth getting? I would say it really depends on the price and how much you want to be fancy. I am a huge fan of 74 SG standards and, you know, any 70s, 80s SG with like the ebony fretboards before they switched to rosewood. Those are my favorites, but I don't know. There's just not enough classiness to an SG Custom for me. Like, I love the fretboard, I love the custom block inlay, but the body's not different enough for me to really fall in love with one of these. The third pickup is a reason to fall in love, but you know, some people don't like it because it gets in the way. So yes, I would suggest an SG Custom, but I wouldn't suggest paying, you know, $3-4 grand for one of these. If you can get one of these in the 2000 range, I think they are a good value. However, I think the SG standards are still a very good deal for a guitar. Blacklight time. This is where this guitar gets interesting. You can see these little squares along the top of the headstock. Those are little stickers that have once been on the guitar that caused the lacquer to age a little bit differently. They're completely invisible under normal lighting situations, but you can see them under black light. You can see some light nicks in the lacquer right there. And the body is interesting. You got more of those little square stickers, and down here, I was like, what has happened? Somebody had stickers on here that said, just in time. It's probably a band name. It's not spelled like the spice or herb, and it's not spelled like time. It's just time with a Y. You can see there's a small little circle there. So this guitar is instantly cool to me because it has these shadows under black light. Having stuff like that is great because if this ever gets stolen, you can prove that it's yours. It's a little bit hard to prove this kind of stuff because you can't get the thief to post a photo under black light, but it is cool to have this kind of hidden stuff, but no repairs on the front. So when I first blacklighted this guitar and I saw that sticker shadow, I was like, well, that's kind of cool. You can't see it under normal lighting situations, so it's fine. And then I got to the back of the neck. Yeah, that's a crack. It's a very shallow crack. I mean, it looks like they probably tried to seep in some glue and then refinished it over. You can tell that amber spot is a little darker compared to the rest of the finish. And there are also some touch-ups along the neck here on both sides. So I can tell you this guitar plays just fine. So if this is for sale again by somebody else, and as long as they're honest about it, I wouldn't hesitate buying this guitar. I will say that the truss rod has about maybe an inch of adjustment left to it, but it does turn really nicely. So you might have to do something to this guitar within, 10-15 years, but it is a good player, yeah. And you do have some buckle rash on the back here. No heel repairs on this guitar or anything. So the one repair it does have, you got some edge wear here. It's not significant enough to make you worry. I mean, definitely it's not worth as much as a clean custom in this condition, but I wouldn't shy away from this example. This example weighs 7 pounds, 8.4 ounces. This SG Custom is accompanied by its original case. You can see there's lots of different Anarchy stickers, just local music type stickers. And it's definitely a well-worn case. I'm thinking these latches might have been replaced. They're a little bit too shiny and they kind of jiggle around a lot. I could be wrong on that. They're very similar in style to what should be there. But all the latches are present and the handle is still good. And the inside is kind of this magenta color. It's a little bit brighter in person. This is just some extra padding. Since this one's going to be sent back, I just decided to leave it in there. But beautiful case. Looks like somebody added a new pull tab since those fall off quite a bit. But cool case. The cleans will be running through a Gibson Super Gold Tone GA30RV, and for the distorted we'll be running through a Gibson Classic Gold. If you think you might be interested in this SG Custom, I'm sure it'll show back up on Reverb. Or feel free to contact me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Troglys, Trogoys, and I'd be happy to help you look for one. Alright, Troglytes, I hope you enjoyed this look at this SG Custom, and we'll catch you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.